Hello, hello. Who we got watching? Hello, 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 hello. What's up? So anyways, folks, I'm going to be a glutton tonight. I only get prime rib like once a year, maybe twice. But I stopped at Shaheen's today and picked up a huge hunk of prime rib. Still got the bone in. Yep, they cut it for me right there, which is, I'll tell you, Shaheen's Meat in Tupper Lake, awesome place. Best meat in the area, and they're really great about taking care of the customers, and, you know, so I can't complain. So anyways, what I'm doing right now is I'm getting ready to, I'm prepping this up to put it in the oven. Now what I'm doing is it's called high temperature roasting. What it is put it in, I'm putting this in my oven's right now is it's preheated to 500 degrees. So once I get this all ready to go in, what I'll do is I put it in, and because it's just over 10 pounds, I'm at 5 minutes per pound. You put it at the high temperature for 5 minutes per pound, and then you shut the oven off and you walk away for 2 hours. So in 2 hours after I put this in the oven, about 3 hours actually, almost, I will have a perfectly just below medium rare hunk of prime rib. And then I'm probably going to do like, I got some asparagus, and I will probably do some mashed taters with it, and who knows. But first off, I got to get my garlic peeled. I might need some more, I don't know, we'll see here in a minute. Okay. So what I'm going to do with these is I'm going to kind of cut them like, they're kind of like on a point. I want a point like that. That one's already good, but I think I'll just slice it anyways. This makes it easier once I poke, because what I'll do is I poke a few holes in the meat, and wow, I'll stick the garlic right down inside, and then I go in from the sides with sprigs of fresh rosemary. So, or as fresh as I can get it right now. My rosemary didn't do too well this year, and they go, ah, shit. Oh. Hopefully next year. Actually, I should probably get something started inside right now. I like to grow my own stuff. My potatoes did good last year. My peppers, my hot peppers did great. I had all sorts of hot peppers there for a while. I actually got some ghost chili peppers on my plant right now that I gotta pick. And then I will do something with them and keep the seeds. Hey Val, how you doing? I'll plant those for next year so I can have lots of ghost chilies. But we'll see what happens. So anyways, I had a good time. I don't know if anybody's on here from last night, but I graduated high school, Webster, New York, in 1985. And of course, because of COVID, we had to cancel our 35th class reunion. So one of the guys set it up last night, and we had an online 35th class reunion last night, which was actually pretty fun. Okay, so what I got here is just over 10 pounds of prime rib. It's got the bones still in it. I love the bones. I keep the bones because I use them for like French onion soup, things like that, if I want to make a bone stock. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my knife and I'm going to start poking some holes here. Not too deep. You know, it's into the meat. It's not going to poke it in from the top like this. And you don't have to worry about losing any of the juice. And so, but it's definitely, I saw this someplace on TV. And I tried it. And this is definitely the way to cook this. Eye round, which is usually a tougher cut of meat. That's what I did for Christmas. It's the same idea. And anyways, now what I'm going to do, Take my little pieces of garlic, stick them right down in the meat. Get over here. I told them to trim as little fat off it as possible because you know what they say, fat's where the flavor is. So anyways, another piece in there? Nope, I don't know if I do. I got 2 in there now. And this is nice because the garlic and the rosemary will cook right into the meat, into the, you know, the garlic, as much garlic as I put in here, it's not overbearing. And actually, when you cut it, you know, you get slices of, once in a while you'll get a piece of roasted garlic. And I'll tell you what, it's actually not a hot spicy, it's nice sweet. You know, you get that nice mellow garlic taste to it. Some places, some people put like a wet rub on, which would usually be like maybe some horseradish mustard or horseradish mayonnaise or mustard. And I'll stick that in here. Get in there. Get in the pork. Get in the beef ribs. Get in there. Get your booty in. Oh, you know what? I'm gonna cut that. So anyways, I'll get that in there. Uh-oh. And where's the other hole I poked? Did I poke another one up here? Well, apparently I didn't. But my little knife. I got a really nice set of knives for Christmas, and I love them. They're forged in fire knives, and they're freaking incredible. Okay, so now I got my rosemary sprigs. I love rosemary. I use a lot of, when I eat like venison, beef. All right, so let's see how we're gonna do this. All right. So what I'm doing, okay, I'm getting a better light here. Is I'm going to go in from the, what the hell is, oh, I was like, what the heck is that on my screen? So I'm going to kind of find the middle of the meat. Get onto here. Okay, so right about there. I'm going to take my knife. I'm going to stick it in, kind of twist it a little bit, get it as far as I can get it. And then I take my sprig of fresh rosemary and stuff it in there. I'll just keep stuffing. And then I'll turn it around. And on this side, I will do the same thing. A nice little, right about there. Twist. Get in there nice and deep. And sprig number 2 of rosemary. And then once it's done, when you're slicing it, you can pull the rosemary. You know, get in there, get in my meat. I love rosemary. I love the smell of rosemary. Okay, so just a second here. Just had to rinse my hands off there. So now, you know, I don't put a lot of stuff on the outside because I got the flavor inside. But what I'm going to use is, this is a large, it's a coarse kosher salt. I'll put a little kosher salt on it. Get some on the ends. Ooh. A little bit more. And as Emerald Lagasse says, I don't know where you buy your meat, but they never season it on the bottom side. So we'll do that. Get a little on this. Oh, look at that. Oh, it's beautiful. This is going to be so good. And Shaheen's always has really good cuts of meat. Alrighty. Now there. So now I got it. Once that's done, I break out the old black pepper. I'll just sprinkle that on like that. Kind of pat it in a little bit. Get up here. Put that on like that. Get in there. And then I'll get this side. And then the top. So there. Oh, it smells so freaking good. I'm so hungry. All right, we'll put that there. So now, the next step, like I said, I've got my oven set at 500 degrees. So I'm going to do it. I'm going to put this in the oven. No. Actually, no, I'm going to get this stuff out. Dump the excess salt and stuff out. Just because I don't want my au jus to be too salty. So anyways, like I said, I got my oven set at 500 degrees. So I'm going to stick this in and set my timer. It's 10 pounds of beautiful prime rib. And then I'm going to set my timer. It's like, well, it's 10.1 pounds, so I'm going to set it for like 52 minutes. Whoops, too far. There. So that's set. So now what I'm going to do is I'll let that go until it beeps at me. And once it's done, once it's beeped at me, yep, and I'll just come over here, I'll shut the oven off, and I'll go do something for another 2 hours, and then towards the end of when it's getting ready to come out of the oven, and the only thing is when you do that, when you put it in like this, when you shut the oven off, do not open the oven. Leave the oven shut. Don't. If you want to peek through the window with the light on, that's fine. Don't open the oven. And then in 2 hours, it'll be done. I'll take it out, let it sit for a minute while I'm finishing up the other stuff I'm doing. I'm going to do some asparagus and mashed taters. So what I'll probably do is I'll take that out, and then I'm going to broil the asparagus. Kind of like char a little bit, but yeah, that cost a good chunk of change. Yes, it did. You know what? I only get it once a year, and damn it, I'm getting it. So the good thing is as much I love prime rib, so this is not going to go to waste. The only waste it's going to go to is this waste. So, anyways, so not much else is going on. I had a really good time last night at my school reunion. I don't usually drink a lot, and I kind of did last night, and so I was a little slow this morning. Well, I got a little caffeine in me, and I was fine. So, but anyways, like I said, that's going to be a nice chunk of burning prime rib, and then I'll keep the bones, and you know I'll like shrink wrap those until I need them, and then I'll use them for like French onion soup, or beef stew, or venison stew, just something to add some stock flavor to it. So, yeah. So, anyways, but yeah, like I said, 500 degrees, 5 minutes per pound. Shut the oven off. Walk away for 2 hours. I did stick fresh cloves of garlic in it and fresh rosemary, like that. But I could have used a little less time, and I ran into that with the roast beef that I did. This time I'm going to actually cut back on the time that it's under the heat, because this is almost an 11-pound chunk of meat, so I'm actually going to cook it for the 10-pound, which is actually 50 minutes, which is where I'm at. So I'm going to cook it for a little bit less time at the high temperature, and then shut the oven off, and then hopefully it'll be, and this is a big hunk of meat, so if nothing else, the middle part will be perfect. So, but yeah, I'll actually probably at some point this weekend I'll bake some fresh Italian bread or something, and I can have sandwiches. I gotta go pick some provolone up. I'll probably do that before the store closes tonight. So I can have like hot roast, provolone subs, roast beef sub or whatever. And I got a really good, it's a horseradish mayonnaise, and it's got a nice kick to it. So, if I had fresh horseradish, which I forgot to buy, I could grate it up a little bit and then kind of put some of that on the outside in the rub too. That adds a really nice. I love horseradish. So the funniest, 2 times I ground horseradish myself. So I had a big old hunk of horseradish root about that big and about that big around. And the first time I did it, when I lived downtown a little bit. Then one of my neighbors was upstairs, and he used to come down and watch like golf and stuff, and we'd hang out, and I'd cook dinner or whatever. So anyways, I'm down there, and it's Sunday, and I'm grating this stuff by hand. Now, if anybody's familiar with grinding horseradish yourself, you're better off to do it outside, and you're better off to not do it by hand. So I did it in my kitchen by hand. So I'm standing there. I mean, onions make you cry. This stuff just about killed me. It was awesome. I loved it. I was like, oh my God. And so I called my neighbor. I said, dude, you got to come down and check this out, man. So he thought I was watching something on TV. Now, the door to my apartment was about 30 feet from the kitchen. And he opens the door. He goes, hey, what the hell are you doing in here? Oh, yeah, that was really good horseradish. Then you take a nice bite of that, and it just clears your... It felt like somebody punched you between the eyes with a blowtorch. The next time I did it, I said, I'm going to be smart. I'm not going to do it by hand. I'm going to use the food processor. That's even worse. Because that, it kind of keeps it inside till you open the lid, and then all them oils fly right up in your face, and it just, boom. So, yeah. But anyways, I love fresh horseradish. So, I think next year in the garden, I'm going to try and I'll grow some. I'll grow some. My garlic came out okay this year, a little small, but that was just because of the soil. I said I had hot peppers. I had serranos, habaneros, jalapenos, and ghost chilies. And the serranos and habaneros, or the jalapenos, and Hungarian hot wax peppers out in the garden did really good. And then up on the deck, I had the habaneros, serranos, and the ghost chilies, and then big, huge plant of fresh basil. It was awesome. And I had tomatoes up on the deck, and those came out. Those were really nice. So next year, I'm going to try and start things earlier, and I'm going to do something different with the soil in my part of the garden, so we'll see what happens. Yeah, I have ended up helping put in a 40-foot by 80-foot garden out back. We got 14 raised beds. Last year I used 3 of them. Next year I'm going to use 4. I'm going to do things a little bit differently this year coming up, but, my pumpkins would have grown good if I'd have been more vigilant about not letting a bunch of them grow in the same hole, so, but I'm going to grow pumpkins. My potatoes did pretty good for... the first time of growing them. And then my radishes did awesome. Holy cow. And those had some serious bite to them. My beets, not so much. My green beans did good. My string beans. Garlic did good. My ginger didn't come up at all. But that next year I'll work on that. I'll keep that up here on the deck. So anyways, like I said, my meat, I put my prime rib in the oven. So... basically, for the next 42 and a half minutes, I can sit on my ass and do nothing. So you folks, I will whip back on around, let's see, it's at 2:45 till 3 o'clock. So about 4 o'clock I should be back on. And then I'll kind of get my potatoes going. Actually, you know what? No. 5 o'clock. Sorry, 5 o'clock I'll be back on. And then I'll get my, something fell. Get my mashed potatoes going and my asparagus. And then that way I can sit down by about 5:30, if that. And I'll tell you what, this is going to be a really good meal. I am starving. I had 1 donut for breakfast this morning just because I knew what I was doing for dinner tonight. So I will be back on around 5, folks. And I will see you then. So stop by for part 2 of the cooking show. Talk to you later. Bye. How do I stop this?